how do you price your artwork? How do you not overprice it, but also how do you not undercut your value? My name is David Garibaldi. I've been a professional artist for the past 17 plus years, and I want to share some information to hopefully help build your creative confidence. Now, this is the number one question I get asked from not only artists just starting out, but also artists who have been doing this for quite a long time. And it's because, those two questions, we don't want to overprice it because we do want to make a sale, but also we want to be valued, and we want the work that we've all put into our creativity and our dedication to also show in the sale price as well. But there are two things that you need to keep in mind, and I'm going to share what that is after this quick story about my first art sale. So I was about 20 years old. I was living in Sacramento, California, and I just started painting live at local jazz clubs and nightclubs. And I remember the very first night I ever did a live painting, the DJ from the show met me outside. He's like, "Hey, how much for that painting?" And this was the very first painting I'd ever done. Looking back on it now, probably one of the most valuable paintings that I would ever, think of. So I would think now the price has got to be super high. But at the time, I just needed to eat. I just needed to cover my costs for showing up. So I turned to him and I said, yeah, I would love to sell it. It's $200. He turned to me and said, "I'll give you $75. And I said, "I'll take it." And this was a painting that was maybe 4 foot in size at the time. And, my cost at the time, that was definitely covering my cost. But I had zero value. It was my first painting ever. I had no reputation. No one knew who I was. And so if I was going to start making more money off my art or raising my prices, not only do I need to get my costs down, but I need to raise my value higher. So what are your costs as an artist? Whether I'm painting or you're painting or most other artists, our costs are around the same when it comes to materials. So canvas, brushes, paints, just start adding those up per painting. And then you can also add your time as well, whatever you think that is at the time or what that costs. And then any other added costs. Maybe you have a studio space or you're renting a small room somewhere, whatever your cost of living is, think about those things. But first start with your costs. And if you start selling artwork for that amount first, break even first, and see if you can at least do that. Now, the next part to work on is value. So what is your value and how do you raise it? Value could be a number of things, but the first one is your reputation. What do people know you for and why, and what do you represent? Maybe you're part of your community, the city that you live in. Maybe people outside of the art world don't really know you much. So maybe you want to start building your reputation outside of just the arts, and maybe in the entrepreneur community or the tech community, whatever that is. The other part is what is on your resume as well. What else can people look to you and say, "You know what, I can trust that this person is going to keep creating, and when they buy your artwork, that value is going to continue to raise." That's based on what have you done in the past. And then just, I think in general, raising your value is really based on relationships. What are people saying about you? How was their experience working with you and sharing it? You may notice that a couple of things that I'm talking about here have a lot to do with being a business owner and thinking about what you do as a business. Just like a restaurant would have their cost of running the restaurant, employees, food, the rent, whatever that is, and then the value of their reputation. And you're able to charge built on that. And so, what are some other ways you can start raising that value? Start reaching out to local organizations to donate your art, show your good faith in your community that they can trust in you. And then also, some things that I've done along the way is I've given away a lot of art. I've done a lot of projects for free that cost me something, but it was a partnership that ended up paying off and raising my value. So if there's one thing that you can do besides getting your costs down to raise your art sales, it's to invest in your value. And whatever that costs you, or whatever you can afford, whether it's donating your time or art, or whether it's taking part in projects or partnerships that will help build a better reputation, that's how you start to raise and price your artwork. So start where you are, start where you can, and then each step of the way, start building your value, and that's how you end up deciding how you price your artwork. Share this message with 3 creatives that will use this to help build their creative confidence. My name is David Garibaldi. Thank you.